Hello, my name is Ari Waldman. I'm a person who stutters. Today is Monday, October 26, 2020. Today is the 8th day of the Jewish month of Mar Cheshvan. Today is my video, Tanya, day 20 on YouTube. Daily study, daily Tanya, Tanya-iggeret, hakodesh, middle of epistle 26, and I just want to remind you, my name is Ari Waldman, and I'm a person who stutters. That was a good stutter. V'hinei kish hamalchut ta'atzilut mitlabeshet beklipat noga deborer hanetzitzut shenaflu b'chet Adam Harishon. Now, when Malchut of Atzilut is vested in Klipat Noga, in order to extract and refine the sparks that fell within the sin of Adam. V'gam ha-rafach nitzutzin shenaflu b'shvirat hakelim. As well as the 288 sparks that fell with the breaking of the vessels, the concept of shvirat hakelim, the primordial breaking of the vessels, and the elevation of the 288 sparks of holiness hidden in the material world is explained at length somewhere elsewhere in the literature of Hasidut. Azai gam hamalchut ta'atzilut nikrat b'shem eitz hadat tov v'ra legabe zeir anpin ta'atzilut. Malchut of Atzilut is then referred to as the tree of knowledge of good and evil, relative to Zeir Anpin of Atzilut. She'ainu yored sham v'nikra eitz chaim, which does not descend there, and which is referred to as the tree of life. V'hinei hitlabshot hamalchut b'klipa noga hu sod galut hashchina. And the investiture of the Sephira of Malchut and Klipa Noga is the Kabbalistic principle of the exile of the Shechina, Asher Shalit Ha'adam Ba'adam Kule, whereby man rules over man to his detriment. In Epistle 25 above, the Alter Rebbe quotes the exposition of the verse in Sefer HaGilgulim. During the time of exile, the evil man of Klippa rules over the sacred man, i.e., the holy side of the universe. At this time, the divine presence is in a state of exile within the universe. However, this temporary dominion of evil is to his ultimate detriment, for its underlying intent in that the sparks of holiness that are embedded within evil be extracted and elevated. The Alter Rebbe will now answer another question which he himself had posed earlier. The Raya Mehemna had stated that so long as the bipolar influence of the tree of knowledge of both good and evil is dominant in the world, Torah scholars who are likened to the Shabbat and festivals are supported only by their unlettered weekday brethren, whose food is sometimes pure but sometimes not. This is why the Torah scholars engage in the study of the corresponding bipolar laws of Isur versus Heter, ritual prohibition versus permission, and the like. Concerning this statement, the Alter Rebbe asked above, even though the sages in Second Temple times, till their good own fields and vineyards, Did they not mainly study the very same laws of Isser and Heter and the like? In reply, the Alter Rebbe now explains the meaning of this passage from Raya Mehemna. During the present era of exile, when the world is dominated by the influence of the tree of knowledge of both good and evil, the divine presence grants life force to the chitzonim. These negative forces belong to the ambivalent realm of Klipa Noga, which veils the holy potential embedded in the material things of this world. Torah scholars are nourished only by the distilled essence of the divinely endowed life force, in order to extract and refine the sparks of holiness hidden in this material world during the era of exile. Scholars study the laws of prohibition and permission and the like. Through painstaking debate and deliberation, they isolate and salvage that which is permitted from that which is prohibited, and that which is pure from that which is impure. Ultimately, their Torah study removes the divinely imposed veil, so that a clear adjudication of the law results. This is what the Alter Rebbe now goes on to say. V'zehu shekatuv b'raya kehemna uvizmana di'ilana d'tov v'ra shalata kule inun kule. And this is the meaning of the segment. In Raya Mehemna, while the tree of good and evil dominates the world, these sages, who are likened to the Sabbaths and festivals, have nothing except what is given to them by those who are called unsanctified ones. Tahainu bisman galut, hashchina shemishpaat dichitzonim, shehu beklipa noga, ha'erev rav yonkim misham. This means that at the time of exile of the Shekhinah, which grants life force to the chitzonim that belong in the realm of Klipat Noga, from which the mixed multitude derive their life force. Umit matsiyato ni zonin talmidei chachamim begalut, and from whose distilled essence the Torah scholars are nourished during the exile. V'az ikar avodat ha'adam, v'ikar asak ha'torah, v'ha'mitzvot, hu lebarad ha'nitzutzot, kenoda meha ariza. At this time, the main spiritual task of man and the main purpose of being engaged in Torah and the commandments is to disencumber and elevate the sparks, as is known from the teachings of Rav Isaac Luria, of blessed memory. Lachein ikar inyan ha-limud hu be'in Ivan v'pilpul halacha be'isur heter tuma v'tahara. Tuma v'tahara. For this reason, the study chiefly involves deliberation and argumentation on the laws of isur and heter, impurity and purity, lebarad ha-mutar ve'ha-tahor, me ha-isur ve'ha-tameh, al yedei ivan V'pilpul halacha b'chachma bina v'dat. In order to disencumber the permitted and the pure from the forbidden, and the impure by means of deliberation and argumentation on the law, with wisdom, understanding, and knowledge, with all the three intellective faculties of the soul that clarify the law. Kinoda deraita mi chachma nafikat b'chachma u b'chachma dika it bareru. For as is known, the Torah derives from Chokhmah. Hence, the sparks of holiness hidden in a legal question can be extracted and elevated only through Chokhmah. V'hayinu Chokhmah ila'a da'atzilut hamitlabeshet b'malchut da'atzilut. Specifically, this is a perennial Chokhmah of Atzilut, which is vested in Malchut of Atzilut, Sod Torah Sheba'al Peh. This being the Kabbalistic principle of oral Torah. Besod Abba Yasad B'raita. According to the Kabbalistic principle by which the Father, i.e. Chokhmah of Atzilut, begot, literally found, the daughter, i.e. Malchut of Atzilut, Amit Lobeshet b'Malchut Yitzira, which in turn is vested in Malchut of Yitzira. Sod HaMishnayot Uvrayatot HaMit Lobeshet b'Klipa Noga Shekeneged Olam HaYitzira. This accords with the Kabbalistic principle of the Mishnayot and the Braitot that are vested in the Klipa Noga, which corresponds to the world of Yitzira. Shisham matchil bechinat hadat nun aleph hara shebenoga. For there begins the knowledge of good and evil, or for there begins the evil which is inherent in Noga. For the Klipa Noga in the world of Yitzira is equally good and evil. Nusach acher veha brayatot umitlobeshet umitlobshot b'klipa noga shekeneged olam ha'asiya shesham matchil bechinat hara shebenoga. A variant reading, and the Brayatot that are vested, and the Klipat Noga, which corresponds to the world of Asiya, from where there begins the evil of Noga. For the Klipa Noga of Asiya is mostly evil and minimally good. Kenoga Bahar Rizal, the above is known from the teachings of Rav Isaac Luria of blessed memory. This is the end of my video Tanya, Day 20. Goodbye.